They tried to drag me out of my own house with fake cops. I had barely unpacked a single box when the HOA president showed up screaming that I didn't belong, waving a piece of paper she had scribbled violation on like it was the Constitution. And in that moment I realized I wasn't just fighting over a lawn or a paint color. This woman was about to turn my entire life into a war zone. I had just closed on the place the day before. A modest house on the edge of Willow Creek, nothing fancy but mine. More importantly, it sat just outside the jurisdiction of their precious HOA. That was the point. I thought I'd finally found a little slice of peace, a place where no one could dictate what shade of white my porch had to be or how high I could raise my flag. But the first time I stepped onto that lawn, Karen Mitchell came charging across like a storm in heels, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "You can't live here!" she shrieked, waving that pathetic piece of printer paper. Neighbors peeked from behind their curtains, their faces pale. It was like they'd seen this show before and were terrified to be part of it. I looked at the paper and actually laughed. Big mistake. Her face turned the shade of a stop sign. "Lady, this house isn't in your HOA," I told her calmly. "Check the property lines before you embarrass yourself." Her jaw dropped, then curled into this smug little grin. "Oh, I know what I'm doing," she snapped. "You think you can just waltz in here and ruin our perfect community over my dead body?" That's when two men stepped out from behind her uniforms, pressed badges gleaming like they'd been bought off Amazon. My stomach tightened. At first glance they looked like cops, but something was off their posture, their voices too stiff, too rehearsed. "Arrest him," Karen ordered, jabbing her finger at me. The taller one stepped forward, his hand hovering near his belt. "Sir, you need to leave this property immediately," he said flatly. I didn't budge. Instead, I crossed my arms. "Funny," I said slowly, "because this is my property. Closed on it yesterday." Karen let out this shrill, gleeful laugh. "Not for long. Once these officers do their job, you'll be gone. People like you don't belong here." My blood boiled, but I kept my voice steady. I had a card she didn't know I was holding. "Before you make a mistake," I told the imposters, "you might want to check my credentials." Karen sneered. "Oh, please, you're bluffing." But the fake cops glanced at each other nervously. I caught it immediately. I smiled. "You've got 30 seconds to walk away before this becomes a real police matter." For the first time, her confidence cracked. She barked at them. "What are you waiting for? Get him out of here." The taller guy shifted uncomfortably. Maybe we should call this in first." Karen spun on him wild-eyed. "I'm in charge here. Do it now." That word "in charge" slipped out like poison. And then she yelled something even dumber. "Arrest him now, or you're both fired." Fired. I tilted my head. Real cops don't get fired by neighbors. Both of them froze. My suspicion was confirmed. They weren't cops at all. I pulled out my phone thumb, hovering over a familiar number. "Your move," I said, my voice low, dangerous. Her smug grin faltered. She stomped her foot like a spoiled child. "Fine. You want to play games? You'll regret this." But I wasn't playing. I hit dial. "Hey, Mike," I said casually when the line picked up. "Got a situation at Willow Creek. Couple of guys impersonating officers. Think you can swing by?" Karen's face drained of color. "Wait. What are you doing? This is unnecessary. They're just here to keep the peace." I laughed under my breath. "Oh, they'll keep the peace all right, from inside a jail cell." The taller fake cop's hands trembled. "Ma'am, maybe we should go." Karen snapped. "No, stay right here. He's bluffing." I stepped closer, my tone razor sharp. "Bluffing. You think I'd buy a house without knowing exactly who my neighbors are? You think you can threaten me when my wife trains SWAT teams for a living?" The shorter imposter's eyes bulged. "SWAT, ma'am, maybe we should—" "Shut up!" Karen screeched. I almost pitied them. Almost. Then I heard it, the distant wail of sirens growing louder. Karen spun around, panic flashing in her eyes. "No, no, no!" I crossed my arms, satisfied. "Sounds like backup's here. And this time it's real cops." The imposters bolted the second the sheriff's cruiser turned onto the street, sprinting down the block like rats escaping daylight. Karen was left trembling on the curb as Sheriff Mike stepped out, his jaw tight. "Well, well," he said coldly. "Care to explain why we got a call about you bringing fake cops to intimidate your new neighbor?" "That's not true," Karen stammered, her face blotchy red. "This is all just a misunderstanding." "Funny thing," Mike said, tilting his head. You've cried wolf one too many times. But this time, we brought the body cams. I couldn't help grinning. Karen's mouth dropped open. You can't record me without my permission. Mike smirked. That's where you're wrong. Public property active investigation. You don't get a say. She faltered. I stepped in. And let's not forget, Karen, I heard you threaten to fire those guys if they didn't arrest me. Sounds less like neighbors keeping the peace, more like an employer bossing her staff. Her eyes shot daggers, but she had no comeback. Mike's voice hardened. Karen, we've let your nonsense slide, noise complaints, trash cans, petty stuff. But impersonating law enforcement, that's a felony. She pointed at me desperately. I was just protecting the neighborhood. Look at him. His house isn't part of the HOA. He'll ruin everything. Mike turned to me. Is that true? I handed him a folder I'd brought for this exact moment. Property deeds. This house sits just outside HOA jurisdiction. He flipped through, then nodded. Airtight. You own it outright. Karen let out a high-pitched scream. No, this can't be happening. Our community has rules. He has to follow them. Your rules stop at his property line, Mike said firmly. And threatening him with fake cops? That's a crime. Karen stumbled backward, her voice trembling. You wouldn't arrest me. I'm the HOA president. I laughed. No, Karen, you're about to be the former HOA president. Mike motioned to his deputies. Take her in. She thrashed wildly, shrieking, You can't do this to me. I run this neighborhood. Not anymore, Mike said. You crossed the line. As they dragged her toward the cruiser, she twisted to glare at me. You'll regret this. This isn't over. I met her gaze calmly. Oh, it's over. You just don't know it yet. The moment the door slammed behind her, whispers rippled across the block. Neighbors emerged, some stunned, others relieved. I leaned closer to Mike. Let's just say I've been watching her for weeks. I've got proof of everything she's done. His eyes widened as I handed him my phone filled with recordings, forged contracts, financial trails. His jaw tightened. Good Lord, he muttered. She's been pocketing HOA funds for years. Fake projects, bogus fines, blackmailing her own board. The crowd gasped as I raised my voice. She wasn't protecting this neighborhood, she was stealing from it. Every dollar, every ounce of peace of mind stolen. An older man shouted, She fined me $500 for my flagpole. A woman burst into tears. She made us repaint our house 3 times. Mike ordered his deputies to freeze the HOA's accounts. Karen thrashed in the cruiser, screaming, Don't listen to him. He's lying. I stepped closer, my voice calm but cutting. You tried to destroy me the moment I moved in. But what you didn't know, Karen, is that I'm not just some random guy with a house. Her furious eyes locked on mine. Then who are you? I leaned down so only she and Mike could hear. I'm a federal investigator. Buying this house was part of a sting. Her face went white, her mouth opening and closing like a fish. I straightened, addressing the crowd. This neighborhood is free now. No more fake fines. No more intimidation. You'll elect a real board and run it the way it should have been from the start. The neighbors erupted cheers, tears relief. Karen was shoved into the back of another cruiser, her screams fading into the distance. The street filled with clapping, the first taste of freedom in months. And me. I stood there on that lawn watching the sun sink behind Willow Creek, realizing that when you mess with the wrong neighbor, justice doesn't just knock, it moves in next door. Lesson learned: bullies only win until someone finally stands their ground.